I pushed open the door to the living room that afternoon, and the sound of snipping scissors hit me first, followed by Emily's sharp gasp. There was my 8-year-old daughter, sitting frozen on the floor with her eyes wide in shock, as my sister-in-law Lisa hovered over her, clipping away at her long, silky hair. Chunks of it tumbled down in uneven hacks, littering the carpet like fallen leaves, turning what had been down to her waist into a ragged mess that barely skimmed her shoulders. Emily's little hands shot up, clutching at the chopped ends, her face crumpling as tears started to spill. "Aunt Lisa, stop!" she whimpered, but Lisa just chuckled, setting the scissors aside on the coffee table with a casual flick. "Oh, come on, kiddo. We were just playing salon. It's fun." Welcome to Stories of Auntie Maya. I share new life stories here every day, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Drop a comment down below telling me where you're watching from and what time it is for you, right? Now, I read every single comment, and it helps me to know I'm not alone in this. I dropped my bag right there in the doorway, my heart pounding as I rushed over. The air smelled like fresh-cut hair mixed with the lavender shampoo I'd used on Emily that morning. She looked up at me, her lower lip trembling, and burst into full sobs. "Mommy, she cut it all off." "I didn't want her to." Lisa straightened up, brushing a stray strand from her shirt, her expression more annoyed than sorry. "Relax, Sarah. It's just hair. It grows back. We were having a good time until you walked in." I knelt down beside Emily, pulling her into my arms as she buried her face in my shoulder, her body shaking. For years, I'd put up with Lisa's oversteps in this house we all shared. My husband and I had moved in with his parents to save on rent after Emily was born, and Lisa treated the place like her personal playground, always inserting herself where she wasn't wanted. She'd rearrange my things, give unsolicited advice on raising Emily, even feed her snacks I didn't approve of, all with that smug smile like she knew better. But this? Seeing my daughter's trust shattered, her favorite feature mangled without a thought, it ignited something deep inside me. I stroked Emily's back, whispering, "It's okay, sweetie. Mommy's here now." She clung tighter, mumbling through her tears. "It hurts, Mommy." Why did she do that? Lisa crossed her arms, leaning against the wall. "Seriously, you're making a big deal out of nothing. Kids experiment all the time." I helped Emily to her feet, guiding her toward the hallway, away from the mess on the floor. The living room felt smaller, the family photos on the mantel staring down like silent witnesses to Lisa's entitlement. Born from growing up in this house her parents still owned. We'd all lived here to keep things affordable, but moments like this made it feel like a trap. In the bathroom, I turned on the light and positioned Emily in front of the mirror. She gasped at her reflection, fresh tears welling up. "I look ugly now," she said, her voice breaking. "No, you don't, baby. You're still beautiful," I assured her, though my own stomach twisted at the sight. The uneven layers, the blunt edges that screamed carelessness. Lisa had followed us partway, hovering in the doorway. "See? She'll get used to it. Short hair is cute on her." I shot her a look but bit my tongue, focusing on wetting a cloth to wipe Emily's face. Her sobs quieted to sniffles as I hugged her again, but inside, my mind raced. This wasn't just a prank. It was Lisa crossing a line she'd been towing for too long, treating my child like an accessory in her bored life. We moved to Emily's room, where she curled up on her bed, pulling a blanket over her head. I sat beside her, rubbing her arm. "Tell me what happened, honey." She said we'd play pretend. "But then she got the scissors from the drawer and started cutting for real," Emily whispered. I told her no, but she laughed and said it was a surprise. That detail fueled the fire building in my chest. Lisa had no kids of her own, no real responsibilities, just flitting through the house on her parents' dime while I worked part-time to contribute. I'd swallowed my frustrations to keep the family peace. But seeing Emily hide under the covers like this, it was too much. I stepped out into the hall, closing the door softly behind me. Lisa was back in the living room, picking up her phone like nothing had happened. "You gonna clean this up?" I asked, pointing to the hair on the floor. She glanced up. "Sure, whatever. But honestly, Sarah, lighten up." I swept up the strands myself, each one a reminder of what she'd taken. As I dumped them in the trash, I caught my reflection in the kitchen window, my jaw set, eyes narrowed. I restrained myself for Emily's sake, heading back to comfort her. But as I passed Lisa lounging on the couch, our gazes met. She smirked, but I held her stare, thinking, this is far from over. I sat with Emily in her room for what felt like forever, holding her as she sniffled under the blanket, her small body still trembling from the shock. The light from the window cast shadows on the walls, highlighting the posters of her favorite cartoon characters that usually made her smile. But today everything felt dim and heavy. I kept stroking her arm gently, trying to calm her down, but my mind kept replaying the scene in the living room, the scissors, the falling hair. Lisa's laugh like it was all a game. After a while, Emily peeked out from under the covers, her eyes red and puffy. "Mommy, can we fix it? Make it long again?" she asked. Her voice so hopeful it broke my heart a little more. I forced a smile, tucking an uneven strand behind her ear. "We'll go to a real salon tomorrow, sweetie. They'll even it out and make it look pretty. And hair does grow back, you know. It'll be back to normal before you know it." She nodded slowly, but then whispered, "But why did Aunt Lisa do it? I thought she was nice." I didn't have a good answer for that, so I just hugged her tighter. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, but I'm here and I won't let it happen again. Deep down, though, I knew it wasn't a mistake. It was Lisa being Lisa, always pushing boundaries because she could get away with it in this house. Once Emily finally drifted off to sleep, exhausted from crying, I slipped out of her room and headed back to the living room. Lisa was still there, sprawled on the couch with her feet up, scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. The clumps of hair were gone. I'd cleaned them up earlier, but the air still felt thick with tension. I stood in the doorway for a moment, watching her, feeling the anger bubble up again. "Lisa, we need to talk about this," I said, keeping my voice low but firm as I walked over and sat on the chair across from her. She glanced up, her eyebrows raised in that fake surprise way she always did. "Talk about what? The haircut? Sarah, it's done. Let it go." I leaned forward, my hands clasped tight in my lap to keep them from shaking. "It's not just a haircut. You scared Emily, and now she's hiding because she hates how she looks. You didn't even ask me or her if it was okay." Lisa set her phone down and sat up a bit, crossing her legs. "Okay, fine, I get it. She's upset. But come on, it was harmless play. Kids do stuff like this all the time. Hair grows back, no big deal." "No big deal?" I repeated, my tone sharpening despite my effort to stay calm. "She's 8 years old, Lisa. She loved her long hair. It made her feel like a princess. And you just chopped it off without thinking about how it'd affect her." She rolled her eyes, letting out a sigh like I was the one being unreasonable. "Princess? That's cute. But seriously, Sarah, you're blowing this way out of proportion. It was spontaneous fun. Emily was laughing at first." "She wasn't," I shot back, remembering Emily's words about telling her no. "She said you surprised her with the scissors." "That's not fun. That's you deciding for everyone else, like always." Lisa leaned back, her arms folded now, a smirk playing on her lips. "Like always? What's that supposed to mean?" I took a breath, trying not to let her bait me, but the words came out anyway. "You know what I mean. You've been living here rent-free thanks to your parents, and you act like the rules don't apply to you. Rearranging my kitchen, giving Emily candy before dinner, criticizing how I parent. And now this, cutting her hair without permission?" She laughed lightly, shaking her head. "Oh, so now it's about me living here. Sarah, this is my parents' house, too. I grew up here, same as your husband. And as for Emily, I was just trying to bond with my niece. You're the one who's always so controlling, hovering over every little thing." "Controlling?" The word stung, hitting right at the insecurities I'd felt almost 9 years ago, when I was pregnant with Emily and we needed to save money. My husband worked long hours, and I'd taken a part-time job to help. But Lisa? She floated through life on family support. No job, just shopping and lunches with friends. Her entitlement grated on me, but I'd always swallowed it for family harmony. "I'm not controlling," I said evenly, though my pulse was racing. "I'm her mother. It's my job to protect her. You owe her an apology at least." Lisa picked up her phone again, like the conversation was boring her. "Apologize for what? Playing salon? If she's that traumatized, maybe you should loosen up a bit. Kids need to learn not everything's a crisis." I stood up then, feeling the heat rise in my face. This is a crisis for her. "She's avoiding mirrors, Lisa. How can you not see that?" She shrugged, not even looking at me. "She'll get over it. And if you're this worked up, maybe talk to my brother about it when he gets home. I'm sure he'll side with family." Her words planted a seed of doubt. My husband often played peacemaker, avoiding conflict with his sister. But they also sparked something else inside me. A quiet resolve that this couldn't just slide like her other intrusions. I wasn't ready to fight back yet. Emily needed me stable. So I turned away, heading to the kitchen to start dinner, but as I chopped vegetables, my mind raced with ways to make her understand the hurt she'd caused. That evening, as I set the table, Lisa wandered in, grabbing a soda from the fridge. "Smells good. See? Everything's normal already." I didn't respond, just focused on the plates, but internally, the seed took root. Her refusal to own up, her twist on making me the bad guy. It fueled a determination I hadn't felt before. For now, I'd hold back, comfort Emily, and wait for the right moment. But watching Lisa saunter off with her drink, I knew I couldn't let her entitlement win this time. After my confrontation with Lisa ended with her brushing me off like I was the problem, I went back to the kitchen to finish prepping dinner, my mind still racing from her accusations. The sauce bubbled on the stove, filling the air with the scent of tomatoes and garlic, but it did nothing to ease the knot in my stomach. I kept glancing toward Emily's room, where she'd finally quieted down, probably exhausted from all the crying. That's when I heard the front door open and voices carried in. Mark was home, along with Ellen and George, who'd been out running errands together. They often did that in the evenings, since this was their house and they liked keeping things running smoothly. Mark set his briefcase down and came over, giving me a quick hug. "Hey, Sarah, you look tense. Everything okay?" Before I could even open my mouth, Lisa called out from the living room, her tone all innocent. Oh, perfect timing. Sarah's been on a rampage today, rushed in yelling at me while Emily and I were just playing, and now the poor kid's all worked up because of it. Mark pulled back, looking confused. Yelling? What happened? Is Emily all right? I turned down the burner and faced them, trying to keep my voice level as Ellen and George unpacked a few bags of groceries. Lisa cut Emily's hair without permission, hacked it off short and jagged, right around her ears and jawline. It's a total mess, and Emily's been in tears, hiding because she hates it so much. Ellen paused with a carton of milk in hand, her eyes widening slightly. Cut her hair? Lisa, that doesn't sound like a good idea. What were you thinking? Lisa walked into the kitchen then, leaning casually against the counter like she owned the place, which in a way she did since it was her parents' house. Mom, it was harmless fun. We were pretending to play salon, and the scissors got away from me a bit. But Sarah stormed in screaming, which freaked Emily out more than the haircut. I'm sorry she's upset, but come on. Sarah's always been so over-controlling about every little thing with that kid. George shook his head as he put away some cans, sitting down at the table afterward. Playing with scissors isn't smart, Lisa. But if it was just a game gone wrong, no point in turning it into World War III. I felt the heat rise in my face, stirring the sauce harder than needed. It wasn't a game to Emily. She told me she tried to stop you, but you kept going. Now her long hair's gone, and she's embarrassed to even look at herself. Mark glanced between us, rubbing his chin. All right, let's sort this out. Lisa, you probably should have asked first. But Sarah, if it was an accident during play, maybe we can just take her to a stylist tomorrow and fix it up. Lisa nodded quickly, crossing her arms with a small smirk. Exactly. Hair grows back, it's not the end of the world. But Sarah's acting like I did it to spite her. She's always hated me being around, thinks I meddle too much. I'm sorry you can't take a joke, Sarah, but this reactive stuff is what really scared Emily. Ellen set the groceries aside and touched Lisa's shoulder gently. Honey, I know you meant well. We've all had those moments with kids. Sarah, let's not blow this up. Family sticks together, and dwelling on it won't help anyone. I stared at her, my hands clenching the spoon. Sticking together? Emily's the one hurt here, and no one's holding Lisa accountable. George folded his arms, leaning back in his chair. Sarah, Lisa's part of this family too. She's impulsive, sure, but not mean-spirited. Making a scene like this disrupts the whole house. Maybe ease up so we can all move on. Mark stepped closer to me, lowering his voice. Babe, Mom and Dad have a point. Lisa said she's sorry you're upset. Let's accept that and keep the peace. You know how things get when everyone's fighting. Maybe just apologize for the yelling part. It'll smooth things over for Emily's sake. Apologize? The word stuck in my throat like a bad taste. We'd moved into this house 8 years ago, right after Emily was born, to save on rent while Mark and I got on our feet. But times like this made me feel like I didn't belong. Lisa had grown up here, spoiled by Ellen and George, and they always took her side in the end. I swallowed hard and turned back to the stove. Fine, for now. Ellen smiled and started setting the table. Good, I'll go get Emily for dinner. We can all eat like normal. I followed her to Emily's room where my daughter was sitting on her bed, twisting a doll's hair in her fingers, the long kind she used to have. Ellen knelt down. Hey, sweetheart, heard about the haircut. It'll grow out soon, and you still look adorable. Emily looked up, her eyes still red. But it's ugly, Grandma. Aunt Lisa shouldn't have done it. Ellen hugged her lightly. Aunt Lisa was just playing. Come eat. Spaghetti's your favorite. At the table, the conversation stayed light. with George talking about his golf game and Lisa sharing some gossip from her friends. Emily sat next to me, head down, barely touching her food. I kept an arm around her chair, feeling more alone than ever as the others laughed like nothing was wrong. After, as I washed dishes, Mark came up behind me. "See, it's settling down. Just endure it a bit longer for the household's sake. No need to stir things up more." I nodded silently, but inside it burned. That non-apology from Lisa, the way everyone dismissed Emily's pain, it isolated us completely. The next morning, I tried to make Emily's hair look better, clipping back the jagged bits around her ears, but it still stuck out unevenly at her jawline. She stared in the mirror, her lip quivering. "Mommy, it's still bad. What if my friends make fun?" I hugged her tight. "If they do, remember they're wrong. You're beautiful. Now let's get to school." In the car, she was quieter than usual, and at drop-off, I walked her inside. Her teacher, Ms. Thompson, smiled brightly. "Morning, Emily. New style? It's unique." Emily mumbled a thanks, but as she took her seat, the kids around her started whispering. "Emily, what happened to your hair? It looks like you got chewed by a dog." Another kid laughed. "Yeah, those jagged parts are weird." "Did you do it yourself? It's so short and messy." A girl pointed. It sticks out funny around your ears. You look like a boy now." Emily's face crumpled and she hid behind her backpack, tears starting. Miss Thompson intervened. "Class, that's enough. Be nice." I bent down, wiping her cheeks. "Hang in there, sweetie. I'll be back soon." But halfway through the day, the school called. Emily was in the office, upset. I rushed over and found her curled in a chair, sobbing. "Mommy, they wouldn't stop teasing. Called me ragged head all recess. I don't want to go to school anymore. I don't want to leave the house." My heart broke as I signed her out and drove home, her words echoing. At the house, Ellen was baking cookies, the smell sweet but cloying. "Back early? What happened?" "Teasing at school," I said shortly, guiding Emily to her room. "She's staying home tomorrow." Ellen frowned. "Oh, kids can be mean, but she'll get over it. Don't let her hide forever." I closed Emily's door, sitting with her as she buried herself under the covers. "It's okay, baby. We'll fix this somehow." But as I watched her, the isolation deepened. Mark at work, the in-laws defending Lisa, Emily too scared to go out. The conflict had escalated beyond words, and my resolve simmered hotter. I wasn't acting yet, but I couldn't let Lisa's entitlement destroy us like this. With Emily curled up in her room after that awful day at school, refusing to even think about going back, I felt like the walls of the house were closing in on me. The afternoon light filtered through the curtains, casting long shadows across the hallway as I paced back and forth, trying to figure out how to handle this mess. Ellen was still in the kitchen, her baking now done. The cookies cooling on a rack like some attempt at normalcy, but nothing felt normal anymore. I heard her humming softly, and it grated on me. How could she act like everything was fine when my daughter was falling apart? I sat on the edge of Emily's bed, brushing her short, jagged hair away from her face as she clutched her bear tighter. "Sweetie, we'll homeschool for a few days if we have to," I said gently. "You don't need to face those kids until you're ready." She looked up at me, her eyes wide and teary. "But Mommy, what about my friends? They think I'm ugly now. Aunt Lisa made everyone hate me." I hugged her close, my own throat tightening. "No one hates you, baby. This is Aunt Lisa's fault, not yours. We'll get through it together." From the doorway, Ellen cleared her throat, holding a plate of cookies. Sarah, I overheard. "Homeschooling? That's a bit extreme, don't you think? Kids need structure, and Emily's tough. She'll adjust." I stood up, facing her. "Adjust? She's been teased all day because of what Lisa did. She doesn't want to leave the house, Ellen. That's not extreme. That's protecting her." Ellen set the plate down on Emily's dresser, her expression sympathetic but firm. "I understand she's upset, but pulling her out of school might make it worse. Lisa didn't mean for this to happen. Maybe talk to the principal instead?" Before I could respond, George wandered in, newspaper tucked under his arm. "What's all this about homeschooling? Sarah, that's overkill. Lisa feels bad enough. Don't turn this into more drama." I crossed my arms, feeling the isolation deepen. "Drama? My daughter's confidence is shattered and you're worried about Lisa's feelings?" Ellen patted George's arm. "We're all worried about Emily, dear. But as a family, we handle things together. Blaming Lisa won't fix her hair." Just then, Lisa appeared in the hall, peeking in with a fake concerned look. I heard my name. "Is Emily okay? I can take her shopping for hats or something to cover it up." Emily shrank back under her covers. "No, Aunt Lisa, go away." I stepped between them. "You've done enough. She doesn't want to see you right now." Lisa rolled her eyes. "See? This is what I mean, Sarah's turning her against me. I was just trying to help. George sighed heavily. Sarah, ease up. Lisa's offering to make amends. We're in this house together. Can't have everyone at odds. I felt my pulse quicken, but I kept my voice low for Emily's sake. Amends? She hasn't even properly apologized. It's always excuses with her. Ellen nodded toward Lisa. She said sorry last night. Let's focus on solutions, not grudges. As they left the room, whispering among themselves, I closed the door and sat back with Emily, who whispered, "Why do they like Aunt Lisa more, Mommy?" I didn't have an answer that wouldn't hurt her more, so I just held her until she dozed off. Later, in the living room, Mark called from work, his voice tinny over the speaker. "Hey, babe, Mom texted me about the school thing. Picking Emily up early, is everything all right?" I sank into the couch, staring at the family photos on the wall where everyone looked happy, including Lisa with her arm around Emily from last Christmas. No, Mark. The kids teased her nonstop. She says she doesn't want to go back or leave the house. This is serious. He paused, then sighed. I get it, but Mom says you're considering homeschooling? That seems reactive. Lisa texted too, said she's willing to help, but you shut her down. I gripped the phone tighter. Help? Like how she helped with the scissors? Your family keeps defending her. And I'm the bad guy for protecting our daughter. Sarah, come on. They're trying to keep peace in the house. It's their place, remember. We moved in 8 years ago after Emily was born to save money. We can't afford to rock the boat too much. His words stung, reminding me how dependent we were. So I should just let it go? Let Lisa get away with humiliating Emily? He lowered his voice. Not get away, but maybe apologize to Lisa for the tension? It'd calm things down. I love you, but family harmony matters. I'll be home soon. Apologize to her? I hung up, feeling utterly alone, like I'd been cast out in my own home. Dinner that evening was a nightmare. Everyone gathered around the table. But Emily refused to come out, saying she didn't want anyone seeing her hair. I brought her a plate to her room, where she picked at it sadly. Mommy, Grandma said it's my fault for playing with Aunt Lisa. I froze. She said what? Emily nodded. When you were in the bathroom, she said I should have said no louder. Fuming, I marched back to the dining room where Ellen, George, Mark, who'd just gotten home, and Lisa were eating. Ellen, did you tell Emily this was her fault? Ellen looked up, fork midway to her mouth. Not exactly. I said kids need to speak up sometimes. But Sarah, you're twisting it. We're all on Emily's side here. George grunted in agreement. Yeah, no one's blaming the girl. But you storming around isn't helping. Lisa chimed in, buttering her bread casually. Exactly. If you'd let me talk to her, I could fix this. But you're isolating her, Sarah. That's not healthy. Mark reached for my hand across the table. Babe, sit down. Mom didn't mean it that way. Let's eat and talk calmly. I pulled away, standing there as they all looked at me like I was the problem. Calmly, my daughter won't leave her room because of what Lisa did, and you're all making excuses. Mark, you want me to apologize to keep peace? He nodded slightly. It might help. We live here rent-free. We owe them harmony. Lisa smiled faintly. See, even Mark gets it. I'm over it, Sarah. Just say sorry for yelling, and we can move on. The humiliation hit me like a wave, blamed for the drama, stripped of support, isolated in this house that wasn't mine. I turned and went back to Emily's room without another word, closing the door behind us. She looked up from her plate. Are they mad at you now, Mommy? I forced a smile, sitting beside her. No, sweetie. They're just confused. But I'm here for you. That night, as the house quieted, I lay awake in bed. Mark snoring beside me after muttering something about letting it blow over. The guilt gnawed at me for not stopping Lisa sooner, for bringing Emily into this family dynamic where we were always second class. Emily's self-esteem was in pieces, refusing school or outings, and I had no allies left. Everyone painted me as over-controlling, the villain causing the rift. I wiped away silent tears, feeling like I'd lost everything, my voice in the family, my husband's backing, even the simple peace of our home. The outrage built, but so did the despair. How could I fight when they all stood against me? The morning after that disastrous dinner, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck, my eyes puffy from all the silent crying in the dark. Mark had rolled over in his sleep, oblivious as usual, and I just lay there for a minute, staring at the ceiling, replaying how everyone had ganged up on me, Ellen twisting words, George grumbling about drama, Lisa smirking like she'd won the lottery, and Mark suggesting I apologize to keep the peace in his parents' house. We'd moved in here 8 years ago, right after Emily was born, to save on rent. but now it felt like a prison where I was the only one seeing the bars. Emily was still asleep in her room, her short, jagged hair framing her innocent face, and the sight of her made my chest ache all over again. She was too scared to go to school or even step outside because of what Lisa had done. I dragged myself out of bed and headed downstairs, where Ellen was already in the kitchen, pouring coffee and setting out cereal like it was any other day. She looked up with that forced cheerfulness. "Morning, Sarah. Coffee's fresh. How'd you sleep?" I managed a small nod and took a mug, pouring slowly to steady my hands. "Not great, but thanks. Emily's still out. I think yesterday really wore her down." Ellen sighed softly, stirring her own cup. "Poor thing. But kids bounce back. Maybe today we can all just take it easy, no more arguments." Before I could respond, George came in from the living room, his slippers shuffling on the floor. "Morning. Heard about last night from Ellen." "Sarah, you holding up? Lisa mentioned she wants to smooth things over, maybe chat with Emily later." I took a sip of coffee, the hot liquid burning my tongue a bit, but it helped me focus. For the first time, instead of feeling defeated, a spark ignited inside me. Lisa couldn't keep getting away with this, crossing lines and hurting my family while everyone excused her. But I kept my face neutral, deciding right then to play it cool. Act like I was calming down so she'd drop her guard and think she'd won. "Yeah, maybe," I said evenly, sitting at the table. "I guess we all need to move forward. No point in dragging it out." Ellen smiled, relieved, and patted my hand. "That's the spirit. Family first, right?" Lisa wandered in then, her hair tied back, wearing yoga pants and carrying one of her fancy designer bags slung over her arm like it was casual. She grabbed a banana from the counter. "Morning, everyone. Sarah, you look better today. No hard feelings about yesterday?" I forced a half smile, glancing at her bag. It was one of those expensive ones she bragged about, a symbol of her pampered life funded by Ellen and George, while I worked part-time and juggled everything else. That bag, and the others she collected, represented her entitlement, the way she floated through life without consequences. Hitting that, targeting her precious bags, would make her feel the same loss she'd inflicted on Emily, but I didn't let on. "No hard feelings," I replied, keeping my voice light. "That bag looks great, by the way. Suits you." She beamed, adjusting the strap. "Thanks, it's my favorite. Got it on a whim last month. Anyway, I'm heading out for a bit. Tell Emily I said hi if she wakes up." As she left, George chuckled. "See? All good now. Glad you're coming around, Sarah." I nodded, finishing my coffee while they chatted about the weather. Inside, though, my mind was racing. This was my awakening. The moment I decided to strike back quietly, without them suspecting a thing. No more despair. I'd gather what I needed and make Lisa understand boundaries. Starting with those bags she valued so much. Upstairs, Emily stirred as I checked on her, sitting up with sleepy eyes. "Mommy, is it school time?" I sat on the bed, smoothing her blanket. "Not today, sweetie. You can rest. You don't have to see Aunt Lisa if you don't want to. Mom will handle the grown-up stuff." She hugged her bear closer. "Okay, my hair still looks bad, though." I kissed her forehead. "It'll grow, and you're beautiful anyway. Want some breakfast in bed?" She nodded, and I brought up a tray with cereal and juice, watching her eat slowly. Seeing her like that, afraid to go out because of the teasing, strengthened my resolve. I had to do something to restore justice, to show her that bullies don't always win. Once Emily was settled with her cartoons, I stepped into the hallway and pulled out my phone, dialing my old friend Jenna. She was outside the family bubble, someone I'd known since college, always straightforward and supportive. We hadn't talked much lately, but I needed an ally now. Jenna answered on the third ring, her voice bright. "Sarah? Hey, stranger, what's going on?" I leaned against the wall, keeping my voice low. "Jenna, I need to vent." Lisa cut Emily's hair short and jagged without asking. Turned it into a mess around her ears and jaw. Emily's traumatized, won't leave the house, and the whole family's siding with Lisa, saying I'm overreacting. She gasped. "What? That's awful." "Lisa's always been entitled. Remember how she acted at your wedding? What are you doing about it?" I paced a little. At first, nothing. I was too beat down. But now, I can't let her keep getting away with this. She's got these designer bags she loves, symbols of her spoiled life. Maybe I need to teach her a lesson, hit her where it hurts. Jenna paused, then spoke carefully. "Whoa, Sarah, that sounds intense." But yeah, sometimes fighting back restores justice, especially when family's blind to it. Just don't go too far, think it through, and don't get caught. You deserve to stand up for Emily. Her words encouraged me like a lifeline. "Thanks, Jenna. I needed to hear that. I'll play it smart, act calm so she doesn't suspect." We talked a bit more about old times, and by the end, I felt empowered. Hanging up, I slipped the phone back in my pocket and went downstairs, where Ellen was wiping counters. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said casually, "just catching up with a friend. Think I'll take Emily for a short walk later. Fresh air might help." Ellen nodded approvingly. "Good idea. See, things are settling." As the day went on, I kept up the facade, helping with lunch, chatting lightly with George about his garden, even waving bye to Lisa when she came back with shopping bags. But quietly, I started observing her habits, how she tossed her bags on the couch or left them in her room unlocked, waiting for the right moment to shift things in my favor. By evening, as Mark got home and we all sat for dinner, I smiled through it all, my resolve solidifying. Lisa couldn't keep winning. I'd make sure of that, one careful step at a time. Over the next few days, I kept up the act of calming down, smiling through breakfasts and dinners like the storm had passed. But inside, I was watching everything Lisa did, noting her routines like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. She had this habit of leaving her designer bags scattered around the house during family time, on the couch in the living room while we watched TV, or tossed on the kitchen counter when she grabbed a snack, assuming no one would touch her stuff in Ellen and George's home. It showed her overconfidence, that untouchable vibe she carried because her parents always had her back, funding her lazy lifestyle without her ever lifting a finger for a real job. I started small, just observing without making a move, like when we all sat down for movie night that Friday. Emily stayed close to me on the couch, her short hair tucked under a hat Lisa had bought as her so-called peace offering. But Emily barely looked at her aunt. Lisa plopped down with her popcorn, her favorite black leather bag right next to her feet, unzipped and overflowing with her wallet and keys. "This movie better be good," she said, kicking off her shoes. "I need something light after all that drama last week." Ellen passed around drinks, glancing at me with approval. "See, Sarah, everyone's getting along now." "Pass the remote, George." George fiddled with the TV, settling on some comedy. "Here we go. No more heavy stuff in this house." I nodded along, handing Emily a blanket. "Yeah, fresh start sounds good." But as the movie played, I kept an eye on Lisa's bag, how she got up twice to refill her drink and left it unattended each time, trusting the family bubble to protect her things. It reinforced my plan. Those bags were her weakness, and her carelessness would make it easy to shift the balance without her noticing at first. The next morning, while everyone was out, Ellen and George at their weekly market run, Mark at a work meeting, and Lisa still sleeping in, I slipped into the home office, where we kept the old computer for family use. I'd remembered seeing Lisa use it sometimes for her online shopping, and I figured there might be something there, like emails or history that showed her true colors. I logged in with the shared password, pulling up the email account that Ellen had set up for household stuff, which Lisa often borrowed. Scrolling through the inbox, I found a chain of old messages from last year, where Lisa was emailing her friend about her latest buys. "Check out this new bag I scored," one read, with a photo attached of her posing with it. "Mom and Dad spoil me rotten. Living here rent-free means I can splurge without worry. Sarah's always so uptight about money, but hey, not my problem." Another one bragged, "Got 3 designer pieces this month. Emily's cute, but her mom's too controlling. Glad I don't have kids dragging me down." Reading that fueled my fire, highlighting how materialistic she was, prioritizing her possessions over real relationships, even mocking me and Emily in private. I took screenshots on my phone, saving them in a hidden folder, evidence of her entitlement that could come in handy later if things escalated. It shifted something in me, making the power feel a little more even. She thought the haircut was forgotten, but I was building my case quietly. By lunchtime, Lisa wandered downstairs, yawning and grabbing coffee. "Morning, Sarah. Emily up yet? I bought those hats. Want me to give them to her?" I stirred the soup on the stove, keeping my tone friendly. "She's playing in her room. Thanks for the hats. She might warm up to them soon." Lisa leaned on the counter, her bag from earlier slung over a chair. "Cool. See? Told you it'd blow over. No hard feelings." "None at all," I said, smiling as I served myself a bowl. But as she turned to check her phone, I noted how she left the bag there again, zipper half open. Another sign of her smug belief that nothing could touch her in this house. That afternoon, Jenna called me back, her voice a welcome break from the tension. "Hey, Sarah. Thought about what we talked about? Any updates on Lisa?" I stepped out to the backyard for privacy, the sun warm on my face as I paced the grass. Yeah, I'm watching her closer. She leaves her bags everywhere like they're invincible. And I found some emails where she's bragging about her stuff, trashing me behind my back. Jenna whistled low. Classic Lisa. Sounds like solid insight. Use it to your advantage. Shift things slowly so she doesn't see it coming. Exactly, I replied. I'm playing calm, letting her think she's won. It gives me space to plan. Good strategy, she said. Just keep gathering those details. You've got this. Hanging up, I felt the balance tipping a bit more. Jenna's encouragement reminded me I wasn't alone, even if the family didn't see it. Back inside, Emily came down, her hat on crooked. Mommy, can we bake cookies without Aunt Lisa? I pulled her into the kitchen, grabbing ingredients. Sure, sweetie, just us. As we mixed the dough, Lisa walked in, sniffing the air. Smells good. Mind if I join? Emily froze, looking at me. I kept stirring casually. Actually, we're having some mother-daughter time. Maybe next batch. Lisa raised an eyebrow but shrugged. Fine, whatever. I'll be in my room. She grabbed her bag from the chair and headed upstairs, still smug, believing the incident was buried. But as Emily and I shaped the cookies, I thought about those emails again. How they exposed her shallow side. It was a crucial clue, reinforcing why targeting her bags would sting. They were her status symbols, more important than family to her. Later that evening, during dinner, the family gathered around the table. Ellen serving roast chicken. This looks delicious, Mark said, kissing my cheek. Glad things are peaceful again. George nodded, cutting into his food. Yeah, no more fights. Lisa, pass the potatoes. Lisa handed them over, her bag tucked under her chair like always. Totally. Sarah and I are cool now, right? I smiled across the table. Absolutely. But as conversation flowed about weekend plans, I observed how she checked her phone mid-meal, leaving her bag unattended again when she stepped away to answer a call. Emily whispered to me, Mommy, her bag's there. I squeezed her hand under the table. Don't worry about it, sweetie. Eat your dinner. Ellen caught the whisper. Everything okay over there? Just fine, I said lightly. Emily's excited about the cookies we baked. As the meal wrapped up, Lisa returned, grabbing her bag without a second glance. She remained overconfident, chatting with Mark about some TV show, convinced the haircut drama was history. But with the emails saved and her habits noted, I felt the power dynamic shifting subtly in my favor. I had the insights now, ready to use them when the moment was right. That night, as I tucked Emily in, she hugged me tight. Thanks for the cookies, Mommy. I feel better today. I kissed her forehead. Good. Things will get even better soon. Lying in bed later, with Mark asleep beside me, I reviewed the screenshots on my phone, the evidence of Lisa's bragging solidifying my plan. She thought she was safe, but I was gathering what I needed, waiting for the perfect opening to turn the tables. A couple of days after finding those emails, I decided it was time for my first small move, something to test the waters without tipping my hand too much. The house was buzzing with its usual routine, Ellen in the garden pulling weeds, George watching his golf highlights in the living room, and Mark at work until late. Emily was in her room drawing, slowly coming out of her shell with the hats covering her jagged hair. But she still avoided Lisa like the plague. I'd been watching Lisa closer than ever, noting how she rotated her bags, always favoring the flashy ones but leaving her older, less prized ones in her closet or on the hall hook when she ran errands. That afternoon, Lisa announced she was heading out for coffee with a friend. I'll be back in an hour or so, she called from the front door, slinging her newest bag over her shoulder, the black one she'd bragged about during movie night. Anyone need anything? Ellen looked up from her gardening gloves in the kitchen. Pick up some milk if you pass the store, dear. Got it, Mom. Lisa waved and left, her car pulling out of the driveway a minute later. I waited until I heard Ellen step outside to the backyard, then slipped upstairs to Lisa's room. Her door was unlocked as usual, that overconfidence showing again. She thought no one would dare touch her things in her parents' house. Inside, her closet was a mess of clothes and accessories, but there they were, her collection of bags lined up on a shelf, the pricier ones in protective covers, but an older tan one sat uncovered, one she didn't use as much but still cherished as part of her vintage set. It was perfect for a test, not her favorite, so she wouldn't freak out completely, but enough to sting and make her question her safety here. I grabbed a pair of scissors from her vanity, the same ones she'd used on Emily's hair, which I'd noticed she kept there, and made a few small, deliberate cuts along the strap and side seam, mimicking the uneven hacks she'd done to my daughter's locks. Not enough to ruin it entirely, but jagged and noticeable, like a bad haircut on leather. My heart raced as I did it, but I kept steady, thinking of Emily's tears and how Lisa had dismissed them. I placed the bag back exactly as I'd found it, scissors too, and slipped out, closing the door softly. Downstairs, I busied myself folding laundry in the living room, acting normal when Ellen came back in. "Sarah, want some tea? I just boiled water." "Sure, thanks," I said, smiling as I stacked towels. "Lisa should be back soon. Hope she remembers the milk." Ellen chuckled. "She usually does. Glad things are quieter around here." We sipped tea and chatted about nothing important, but inside I was buzzing with anticipation. About 40 minutes later, Lisa's car pulled up, and she breezed in with a grocery bag. "Got the milk, Mom, and some cookies, thought Emily might like them." "That's sweet," Ellen replied, taking the items. "Emily's upstairs if you want to say hi." Lisa hesitated, glancing at me. "Maybe later. I'm going to put my stuff away first." She headed upstairs, and I kept folding, my ears straining for any sound. It didn't take long. A sharp gasp echoed down the hall, followed by footsteps pounding back down. Lisa stormed into the kitchen, holding the tan bag up, her face flushed. "What the hell happened to this? Look, it's cut up, like someone took scissors to it." Ellen stood up, frowning as she examined it. "Oh no, honey. Are you sure? Maybe it tore in the closet?" Lisa shook her head, her voice rising. "Tore? These are deliberate cuts, jagged, like on purpose. I haven't used this one in weeks. Someone did this here in the house." I looked over from the laundry basket, feigning surprise. "That's awful, Lisa. Who would do that? Maybe a neighbor kid sneaked in or something." She whirled on me, eyes narrowing. "Neighbor kid? In our house? Come on, Sarah." "Things have been tense? You sure you didn't see anything?" Ellen stepped between us. "Lisa, calm down. Sarah's been down here with me. Let's not accuse anyone without proof." But Lisa wasn't buying it fully, pacing the kitchen. "Proof? This didn't happen by accident. Maybe the cleaning lady, I never trusted her, or that guy who fixed the AC last week. But why my bag?" George wandered in from the living room, remote in hand. "What's all the yelling? Golf's on." Lisa thrust the bag at him. "Dad, look, someone vandalized my bag. It's ruined, cost me hundreds." He inspected it, grunting. "Looks bad, all right. But honey, bags wear out. You sure it's not just damage from storage?" "It's not," Lisa snapped, her confidence cracking a bit as she ran a hand through her hair. "This is targeted. I leave my stuff safe here. Who would mess with it?" I folded another towel slowly. "That's scary. Maybe we should check the doors more often. Or get a camera for the hallway." Ellen nodded. "Good idea, Sarah. Lisa, put it aside for now. We'll figure it out. Don't jump to conclusions." Lisa huffed, grabbing her phone. "I'm texting my friend. See if she knows anyone who repairs leather. But this freaks me out, feels personal." As she stormed back upstairs, muttering about suspects, I caught Ellen and George exchanging glances. "She's really upset," Ellen said quietly. "Never seen her like this over a bag." George shrugged. "She has too many anyway. But if someone's messing around, we need to watch." I agreed mildly. "Yeah, better safe. I'll keep an eye out." The rest of the afternoon, Lisa was on edge, peeking into rooms and double-checking her other bags. At dinner that evening, Mark was home, and she brought it up again as we passed the plates. "So no one saw anything weird today. My bag's sliced up. It's not right." Mark examined it when she showed him. "Weird, sis. Maybe it caught on something sharp in your closet?" Lisa shook her head, poking at her food. "No way. It's like someone copied a bad haircut or something. Creepy." Emily, sitting next to me, whispered, "Mommy, what's wrong with Aunt Lisa?" I patted her leg under the table. "Nothing, sweetie. Just grown-up stuff." Ellen changed the subject. "Let's talk about something else. Mark, how was work?" But Lisa kept glancing around the table. Her usual smugness faded, suspicion flickering in her eyes. "Fine, whatever. But if I find out who did this..." George cleared his throat. "Enough, Lisa. Eat your dinner." "Probably nothing." After the meal, as I cleared dishes, Lisa pulled Ellen aside in the hall, her voice low but audible. "Mom, you think Sarah could be involved. She's been weird since the hair thing." Ellen hushed her. "Don't be silly. Sarah's moved on. It's probably just wear and tear." But the doubt was planted, Lisa accusing random people like the cleaner or repair guy, but deep down suspecting family, especially me. It created tiny cracks in her alliances. Ellen defended me a bit, and George seemed annoyed by her paranoia. Mark even texted me later. "Lisa's going on about her bag. You okay?" I replied, "Fine. Hope she figures it out." Lying in bed that night with Mark snoring softly, I reviewed the day in my mind. That small strike had shaken her, made her question her security in the home without exposing me. It was measured, just testing her reaction. And it worked. She was off balance now, less overconfident. The tension built inside me, a mix of satisfaction and nerves, knowing this was only the beginning of my growing empowerment. The day after I made those cuts to Lisa's tan bag, the house felt thicker with tension, like everyone was walking on eggshells waiting for something to crack. Lisa had spent the evening before pacing around, examining her other bags one by one, her usual carefree attitude replaced by this edgy paranoia that made her snap at little things. Like when Emily accidentally bumped the table. I kept my routine normal, helping Ellen with breakfast and chatting about the weather, but I could see Lisa watching me out of the corner of her eye, her suspicion growing even if she didn't say it outright. Emily stayed upstairs most of the morning, drawing pictures of girls with long hair. Still not ready to face the world outside, and I made sure to check on her every hour, reassuring her that things were getting better. By lunchtime, Lisa cornered me in the kitchen while I was making sandwiches. She leaned against the counter, her arms crossed tight, holding her phone like a weapon. "Sarah, we need to talk. That bag, it's not just damaged. Someone cut it on purpose, and I think it's connected to the hair thing. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?" I sliced the bread calmly, not meeting her gaze right away. "Connected how? I told you yesterday it's scary if someone's messing with your stuff. But why would I do that? We're family, right?" She stepped closer, her voice lowering to a hiss. "Family? After how you've been acting. You've been cold since the haircut, and now this happens. If you're trying to get back at me, it's petty. And if I prove it, I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you are." Ellen walked in then, carrying groceries from the car. "Girls, what's going on? Lisa, you look upset again." Lisa turned to her, holding up her phone where she'd taken photos of the damaged bag. "Mom, I emailed my friend, the one who repairs leather, and she said it's definitely scissors. Not where. I'm spreading the word to our mutual friends that something weird's happening here. Sarah's been too quiet. It's suspicious." I set the knife down, forcing a concerned look. "Lisa, I'm not quiet. I'm just focused on Emily. If you're telling friends, that's your choice, but it might make things awkward for all of us." Ellen put the bags down, frowning. "Lisa, don't drag outsiders into this. Sarah's right. Keep it in the family. Maybe it was an accident." But Lisa shook her head, her eyes flashing. "Accident? No, Mom, I'm not letting this slide. If Sarah's involved, she's unstable, petty over a kid's haircut. I'll make sure people know to watch out." George shuffled in from his nap, rubbing his eyes. Heard the commotion. "Lisa, you're blowing this up. A bag's not worth family fights." Lisa whirled on him. "Dad, it's my property. If someone's destroying it, that's serious. I'm hiding the rest of my bags now. No more leaving them out. And if anything else happens, I'm calling the police for vandalism." I felt a chill at that, but I kept composing sandwiches. "Police? That's extreme. We can check the house together if you want." She snorted. "With you? No thanks, I'll handle it myself." She stormed out, grabbing her keys and slamming the door behind her. Ellen sighed, unpacking the groceries. "She's on edge, Sarah. Give her space. But maybe apologize again to smooth it over?" I nodded, though inside my stomach twisted. Lisa was ramping up, trying to isolate me further by bad-mouthing me to friends. "Yeah, maybe. I'll try." That afternoon, Mark called from work, his voice tense. "Babe, Lisa texted me photos of her bag. She's saying it's sabotage, hinting at you. What's going on?" I paced the living room, keeping my voice steady. "I don't know, Mark. She's paranoid. I was with your mom all morning yesterday." He paused. "She mentioned telling friends you're unstable. That's not good. Could affect our social circle. Just stay clear of her stuff, okay? We can't afford more drama here." His words hit hard, making it seem like I was on thin ice, about to lose even his support. I am staying clear. But if she's spreading rumors, that's her destroying harmony, not me. "True," he admitted, "but let's not escalate. I'll talk to her when I get home." By evening, Lisa was back, and she'd taken it further. She'd hidden her bags in her locked room. But that wasn't all. During dinner, she sat across from me, picking at her food with a smug look, returning. "So, I talked to a few friends today. They're shocked about the bag, said it sounds like jealousy. One even suggested I install a nanny cam in my room." Emily looked up from her plate. "What's a nanny cam, Aunt Lisa?" Lisa glanced at her, then at me. "It's a camera to catch bad people doing bad things, sweetie. Like if someone sneaks around." Ellen cleared her throat. "Lisa, not at the table. Emily doesn't need to hear this." George nodded. "Yeah, drop it. Eat." But Lisa leaned forward, staring at me. "Fine, but Sarah, if my other bags get touched, I'll report it. Vandalism's a crime could lead to real trouble, like fines or worse. Her threat hung in the air, making my fork feel heavy in my hand. I hope nothing else happens. Sounds stressful for you. Mark arrived late, joining us for dessert. Heard about the cam idea, sis. Overkill, but if it makes you feel safe. Lisa smiled at him. It will. And I'll review old family chats too, see if anyone's been complaining about me, destroy any doubt. I froze internally. She meant those emails I'd found. But if she went digging, she might delete them or twist them against me. Old chats? Why drag up the past? She shrugged. To find patterns. If someone's resentful, it'll show. After dinner, as I washed dishes, Ellen pulled me aside. Sarah, Lisa's serious about this. She's destroying any chance of peace with these threats. But maybe back off, let her calm down. I dried a plate, nodding. I will, don't want trouble. But upstairs later, Lisa knocked on our bedroom door while Mark was in the shower. She stood there, arms crossed. One more thing, Sarah. If this is about Emily's hair, get over it. Or I'll make sure Mark sees how petty you are could strain things between you two. Her words were a direct hit, trying to sabotage my marriage now, making it feel like I was cornered again. Lisa, I'm not doing anything. Good night. She left, but the pressure mounted. Rumors to friends, threats of police, hiding her bags, and now hinting at turning Mark against me. It appeared like my plan was backfiring, with her escalating the sabotage and destroying any remaining family harmony. I lay in bed that night, listening to Mark breathe, feeling on the verge of defeat once more, but clinging to the emails I'd saved on my phone. She was fighting back hard, but I wasn't done yet. The morning after Lisa hit me with all those threats, I got up before anyone else, my head clearer than it had been in days, despite the way she'd tried to corner me with rumors and police warnings. I slipped downstairs to the kitchen, where the coffee maker hummed as I started a pot, and I pulled out my phone to double-check the evidence I'd gathered. The screenshots of those old emails where Lisa bragged about her designer bags and mocked my parenting, calling me too controlling and saying Emily was just a phase that held everyone back. I'd also snapped photos of Emily's jagged haircut next to the small cuts I'd made on that old tan bag, lining them up side by side to show the parallel violation, how she'd taken something precious from my daughter without a thought. And I'd done the same to teach her a lesson. Ellen came down first, tying her robe as she reached for a cup. Morning, Sarah. You're up early. Couldn't sleep after all that talk last night? I poured her some coffee and sat at the table, deciding it was time to bring them in. Ellen, I need to show you and George something important. It's about Lisa and why things have escalated. Can you get him down here? She looked at me curiously, but nodded, heading back upstairs. A few minutes later, George shuffled in behind her, still in his pajamas, grumbling. What's so urgent? It can't wait till breakfast, Sarah. I handed them my phone, opened to the emails first. These are from the shared computer in the office. Lisa forgot to log out after using it for her shopping a couple weeks ago. I noticed when I went to check our bills. Read them. She's bragging to friends about her bags, how your money lets her splurge, and mocking me and Emily, saying I'm over-controlling and that kids like her are a drag. Ellen scrolled through, her face tightening. Lisa wrote this? About her own niece? George, look, it's right here, clear as day. George took the phone, his brow furrowing as he read. Damn, that's harsh. Sounds like her when she's venting, but putting it in writing? Not smart. I nodded and swiped to the photos. And these, Emily's haircut next to the cuts on her old tan bag. I did that, a small cut on the strap inside, nothing major. It was just that one bag, not her favorites, and I'm willing to pay for repairs. But the root cause is her behavior toward Emily. She violated my daughter's trust, and I wanted her to feel a fraction of that pain. Ellen's eyes went wide, and she set the phone down like it was hot. You cut her bag? Sarah, that's property damage. She could really call the police on that. What were you thinking? George leaned back, crossing his arms. Yeah, that's crossing a line. Emails are one thing, but taking scissors to her stuff, we could have legal trouble here. Fines are worse. This house doesn't need that. I met their stares evenly, my hands steady on the table. I know it was wrong, and I'll own it. But look at the parallels in those photos. It's the same kind of reckless cut she did to Emily without permission. She's been spreading rumors about me being unstable, threatening to ruin my marriage by turning Mark against me, even talking about nanny cams and lawyers. We need to address both sides, her entitlement in those emails and my retaliation. I want a family meeting tonight in the living room, all of us there. You, George, Mark, Lisa, even Emily if she wants to lay it all out with witnesses so she can't deny or twist it. Ellen glanced at George, her voice shaky. A meeting, with this evidence. It explains her attitude, but Sarah, your part in this worries me. We can't have more escalations. George rubbed his temple, thinking it over. Those emails show a pattern, spoiled, dismissive, like we've let her get away with too much. But the bag cutting? That's not okay either. We'll do the meeting tonight, discuss everyone's right and wrong actions, but on one condition, no one does anything else. We settle everything tonight, no more secrets or strikes. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Agreed. Thank you. I'll talk to Mark next. He needs to see this too. They headed back upstairs to get dressed, and I went to our room, where Mark was just waking up, stretching as he sat up in bed. Morning, babe. You look serious. What's up? I sat beside him, handing over the phone. Mark, read these emails from Lisa. She left herself logged in on the shared computer, bragging about her bags, mocking my parenting, saying Emily drags us down. And the photos, her bag cuts next to Emily's hair. I admit I did the bag, a small cut on that old tan one, and I'll pay to fix it. But it's because of how she hurt our daughter, dismissed it. And now she's ramping up with rumors and threats, even trying to drive a wedge between us. He scrolled through, his jaw tightening as he absorbed it. She said that about Emily, our kid, and about you. I've overlooked her spoiled side for too long, thinking it was just sister stuff, but it's a pattern of entitlement. The bag thing, yeah, that's risky, but after what she did to Emily, I see why you snapped. I'm on your side, Sarah. No more peacekeeping. She needs to face this. I leaned into him, relieved as he hugged me tight. Thanks, Mark. Your parents agreed to a family meeting tonight in the living room. Everyone there as witnesses. We'll show the evidence, discuss it all. No more denials from her. He nodded, his expression firm. Good plan. I'll back you up. Let's keep it from Lisa till dinner so she doesn't bolt or delete anything. The day crawled by with that undercurrent of tension. I helped Emily with her homework in her room, where she was starting to venture out more with her hats, but she still asked about Lisa. Mommy, is Aunt Lisa mad at us forever? I smoothed her short hair gently. Not forever, sweetie. We're having a family talk tonight to sort things out. You can join if you want or stay up here. She nodded, hugging her drawing pad. I'll stay here, but make her say sorry for real. Downstairs, Ellen and George kept things normal, but I caught them whispering in the hall, probably processing the emails. Lisa was out again, likely still venting to friends. But when she got back mid-afternoon with shopping bags, I stayed casual in the kitchen. Hey, Lisa. Family meeting tonight after dinner, your parents called it. Living room, everyone there. She set her bags down carefully, eyeing me. A meeting? About what? If it's my damaged bag? I already told you I'm handling it with my lawyer friend. I shrugged, wiping the counter. Family stuff, you'll find out. Just be there. She huffed, grabbing a water from the fridge. Fine, but if this is some ambush, I'm out. I've got my own evidence now. Those rumors aren't going away. Her words hung like a threat, but I didn't bite, focusing on prepping dinner instead. As the afternoon faded, Mark came home early, giving me a subtle nod as he helped set the table. Emily ate in her room, saying she didn't want to see Lisa yet, and the meal itself was quiet. With George talking about his golf game to fill the silence, Lisa picked at her food, glancing around suspiciously, while Ellen avoided eye contact. After we cleared the plates, Ellen stood up. All right, living room now, everyone. Lisa crossed her arms as we all moved in, the door clicking shut behind us. The air thick with unspoken accusations waiting to unfold. We all settled into the living room right after dinner, the door shutting behind us with a soft click that made the space feel even more confined, like we were locked in until this mess got sorted. Mark sat next to me on the couch, his hand on my knee for support, while Lisa took the armchair across from us, her posture stiff and her eyes already narrowing in suspicion. Ellen and George claimed the love seat, looking weary but ready to mediate, and I glanced up the stairs where Emily had stayed in her room, content with her books and away from the drama. The lamp cast warm shadows on the walls lined with family photos, but tonight, those smiles felt like a distant memory as I pulled out my phone, ready to lay everything bare. Ellen started things off, her voice steady but tired. Okay, we're all here to talk this out. The haircut, the bag, the threats, everything. No yelling, just facts. Sarah, go ahead and show what you have. I held up my phone, swiping to the screenshots first. These emails from Lisa, left on the shared computer after she forgot to log out, they show her bragging about her designer bags and how living here rent-free lets her splurge. without a care. But worse, she's mocking me for being too controlling as a parent and calling Emily a drag on the family. And these photos, Emily's jagged haircut side by side with the small cuts I made on your old tan. Bag. I did that, Lisa, a minor slice on the strap inside, to mirror the violation you did to my daughter without asking. It was thoughtless on my part, but your haircut started this, hurting Emily deeply. Lisa's face twisted as she leaned forward to look at the screen, her cheeks flushing red. You snooped through my emails? That's invasion of privacy. And admitting you cut my bag? That's destruction of property. I wasn't kidding about calling the police. Mark cut in before she could build steam, his tone firm as he squeezed my knee again. Hold on, Lisa. Those emails aren't just private, they're mean-spirited. You mocked my wife and our daughter. Said Emily's a burden? I've let your entitled attitude slide for too long, thinking it was harmless. But this shows a real pattern. The haircut wasn't play. It left Emily hiding since last week, too embarrassed to go out. Ellen reached for the phone from me, scrolling through with a sigh. Lisa, these words, bragging about our money, dismissing Sarah and Emily like that. We've enabled you, letting you coast here without a job, but this hurts. The haircut was reckless, no doubt. Sarah, the bag cutting was wrong too. Could lead to trouble, but I see the frustration behind it. George nodded beside her, his expression stern as he handed the phone back. Both of you stepped over lines. Lisa, you violated Emily's trust with those scissors. No permission, no remorse at first. And the emails? That's contempt, pure and simple. But Sarah, damaging property's serious legal repercussions if it goes further. We're here to air it all. Your wrongs, her wrongs, and end it. Lisa crossed her arms tighter, glancing around the room like she was searching for an escape. But with everyone staring, she deflated a bit. Fine, the haircut was thoughtless, a stupid impulse, and yeah, it violated Emily's space. I didn't think it'd blow up like this. And the emails? Just venting to friends, but I see how they look bad. I'm sorry for that, and for spreading those rumors about you being unstable, Sarah. The threats about police and straining your marriage were out of line too. I was angry. I felt a weight lift slightly at her words, but I kept my voice even, not letting emotion take over. I accept your apology for Emily's sake. And I'm sorry for cutting the bag. It was impulsive, and I'll pay to repair or replace it, whatever it costs. But the root was your behavior toward my daughter. She didn't deserve that humiliation. George leaned forward, pointing between us. Good, apologies out. Now, consequences. Sarah pays for the bag repair. Lisa drops the police talk and any lawsuit ideas. Done. No more legal threats hanging over this house. Lisa nodded reluctantly, her eyes dropping to the floor. All right, no police if she pays up. I'll handle the rest. Ellen added softly but with steel in her tone. And Lisa, this favoritism ends tonight. You've lost our blind trust, start job hunting tomorrow. Contribute to the house like Sarah does with her part-time work. No more free ride if it leads to this kind of hurt. Mark chimed in, backing them up. Yeah, sis. And make it right with Emily. Take her for extensions to fix her hair. Cover any therapy if she needs help with the teasing trauma. Show you mean the change. Lisa rubbed her temples, sighing deeply. Fine, I'll do that. Set up a salon appointment for extensions. Pay for therapy if she wants it. And I'll contribute. Look for a job. Help with bills. Happy now? I stood up then, feeling the shift in the room, like the power had finally balanced out. It's a start. But Lisa, boundaries from now on. Stay out of my parenting. No more meddling in our routines. Cross my child again, and you'll lose more than a bag or our trust. She met my eyes, her usual smirk gone, replaced by a wary nod. Understood. No more crossing lines. Ellen rose too, hugging Lisa briefly before turning to me. This family's been through enough. Respecting boundaries stops these cycles of hurt and retaliation from destroying us all. Let's remember that. George grunted in agreement, standing to end the meeting. Meeting over. Bedtime, tomorrow's a new day. As everyone dispersed, Mark walked me upstairs, his arm around my waist. You did it, babe. Justice for Emily, and we come out stronger. I checked on Emily, who was half asleep, and whispered the update. Aunt Lisa said, sorry, sweetie. She'll help fix your hair. Emily smiled faintly. Good, Mommy. I feel better. Lying in bed later, with Mark beside me, I stared at the ceiling. The house quiet for the first time in days. Lisa had lost her golden status, facing real change and costs. Her reputation as the untouchable one shattered. I'd reclaimed my place, protecting Emily and setting limits that stuck. In families like ours, respecting boundaries keeps the peace. Ignore them, and the retaliation can tear everything apart. Have you ever felt that the person who hurt you the most is the one you trusted the most? If you've ever experienced being doubted, blamed, or hurt without being able to speak out, leave a "I" comment or briefly tell your story. No one is judging you here. We're just reminding each other of one thing. The truth may come late, but it always finds a way to be revealed. And if you want more stories like this about justice turning around, remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episode.